Hey everybody, Jamie from the Marine Doctors YouTube channel, and today I'm making a video that I didn't really think I had to, but I do. So I'm an expert at a lot of stuff, I'm a professional at a lot of stuff, but there are some things that I don't have the knowledge base to do, or I don't have the special tools to do. So when a customer comes in with an engine, for example, and I simply don't have the experience to work on it, or like I said, the tools, I will send them to another dealership. Now, you got to keep in mind, when you send someone to another dealership, you're putting your stamp of approval on that dealership. Now, this is kind of where I get caught up, because some things have happened. And some things I don't approve of. One of the places, though, is hopefully standing behind what they did and fixing it. But let's get into that. So we work on Mercury here, and in the early 2000s, and I guess late 1990s, yeah, I guess that's what I want to say, the Mercaha came out, and it was a collab effort between Mercury and Yamaha. So we call them Mercaha. So the carbureted ones I work on, no issues, because they're carburetors, but the EFI versions, we don't have the software to talk to the ECM, and the knowledge base at Mercury is, well, limited if I have questions, and Mercury no longer supports that engine. They washed their hands of it, so I can't even purchase parts for it unless I go to a Yamaha dealer. Now, I had one come in the other day, and I told the guy, I was upfront, I said, I don't like to work on these, for the reasons that I previously mentioned. And he said, well, can I please leave it here and you take a look at it? I said, yeah, okay, it's slower right now, I'll take a stab at it for you. What I found was he needed some work on his VST, the vapor separator tank. So it has a couple of pumps in there to move fuel around. I think there's two pumps in there. See, that's why I don't work on these. I'm not 100% sure. I'm 100% sure, though, that it does have a high pressure pump, and the high pressure pump wasn't working properly. So I told him this, and then he says, well, what can I do? And I said, well, take it up to the Yamaha dealer and let them have at it. Well, he takes it up to the Yamaha dealer. $2,700 later, they tell him this. His words, not mine. Does it only go 3,000 RPM? And did it go 3,000 RPM when you had it earlier? Oh my God. If it's supposed to run at 6,000 RPM and they're telling him that it works, it runs like it's supposed to. Fair enough. He comes in and he's talking to me about this, and I said, no, man, either it's got the wrong prop on it, it's got too tall of a prop, or there's still something wrong with it. Bring it down, let me put it on the dyno, and I'll figure out what's going on. So he brings it down, I hook it up to the dyno, and lo and behold, there's something wrong. As soon as I start it, fuel starts spewing out the overflow. So the needle and seat that's inside the VST wasn't holding. That's probably what was limiting this thing to 3,000 RPM, even though they swore that it was fixed and running correctly. They couldn't smell that. I just walked around and saw fluid coming out of a place where fluid's not supposed to be coming out of, stuck my hand underneath it, lo and behold, that's gas. So he calls in, he lets them know what's going on. I get a phone call from them, and they're saying, yeah, can you let us know what's going on with that? And I said, well, I believe the VST isn't, the needle in it isn't sealing properly, and it's overflowing. Oh, I wonder how that happened, they said. And I gave them stuff happens, as long as you guys take care of it, it doesn't really matter. So he'd also brought it in to me for an oil change, and he picked up all the supplies. He was going to do it himself, but then I was going to run it on the dyno, so I may as well do it at that time. So I suggested to the lady that perhaps they should really go out of their way and help this guy, because I forgot to mention this. They also scratched his pontoons on his pontoon boat. So they were going to fix it for him. And he kind of hinted at, well, can you guys maybe, change my oil then, or winterize my boat for me? And they refused. All they were going to do was clean up the damage that they did to his boat. So again, he's taking time out of his day. He's got to haul it all the way back there. He's got to now get it fixed, the pontoon fixed. He's got to get the engine serviced. So I straight up said to her, you know, you guys need to bend over backwards for this guy because I referred him to you. And I don't know if I'm going to be doing that kind of stuff again because of this. And you know what she says? She says, well, maybe we won't charge him. We'll see. Conversation was done. I just got off the phone. Okay, that's one. No. Number two, the other guys. Fella comes in 2 days ago and he says, yeah, I'm looking at buying a new engine. And he's explaining this story to me about he's got a 175 E-TEC. So, you know, a great engine for its time, but he said one cylinder had 40 pounds compression on it. Okay, so I wasn't the guy that did the compression test, so I don't know, but, you know, you take it for what it's worth. But the problem was he had it back there in May, and they told him it needed over $10,000 worth of work to the engine itself. It needs new sleeves, it needs new pistons and rings, it needs bearings. They just added a whole bunch of stuff on. Maybe they just didn't want to fix it. I don't know, but 10 grand plus, he said. So I ended up selling this guy on a 150 Merc because he didn't want to deal with that place anymore. So again, I refer people to this other place, and this is what's going on over there. So I said, well, bring those parts down because he was just going to throw them into the dumpster anyway, and let me take a look at them and see, you know, maybe I can use them, or maybe I can find a place to put your block, like the 175 block. Maybe someone else wants it, right? So he pulls up with his truck, and I go out there and I look inside, and I'm looking around and I'm going, well, maybe I just don't know enough about these things, but I think 10,000 would just clean this block up and make it brand new, throw new pistons in, and you're set. Where do the new sleeves and 10 grand come from? Right? And I've looked in a lot of blocks, and I assess a lot of blocks to find out how they were damaged and so on and so forth, right? That's part of what I do, because you don't want to put a block back together and have it fail in the same way. So you figure out what happened, right? But for the life of me, I'm looking in this thing going, well, it's got wear. I don't see water intrusion. I don't see any scoring. I just see simple wear over time that possibly that's where this lost compression went, or perhaps maybe direct injector stuck open. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible or not. Again, that's why I don't work on them, because I would be guessing, right? So maybe those of you out there that know more about E-TECs could correct me, but I think you can still get 10,000 oversized pistons for these things, or oversize them in some general way, and be back on the water for a lot less than 10 grand. Anyway, that's kind of my rant. So I just wanted to let you guys know that sometimes you're putting your own name on the line when you're trying to help others by even sending to other places. So now I'm to the point where I really don't know what to do should someone say, well, where can I take my boat? You know, I've got a good rapport at the one place and I want to keep it that way, but I also got to look after our name here too. Anyway, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.